This video is to walk you through a system that I utilize to save about $400 a month between my business and personal expenses. Stay tuned. Hey guys, if you're watching this and we have not met yet, my name is Jordas.Reyes and I operate the Pro Scout Group, a real estate team out of the Keller Williams Realty Naples office. We service the Southwest Florida area from Cape Coral, Fort Myers, all the way back to Marco Island. Over the last few weeks, our company has been putting on different calls in the morning and in the afternoons, and one of the topics that we've discussed on these calls is cutting expenses, not only for our business, but in our personal lives as well. And one of the things that we've noticed is that we have a lot of expenses sometimes that we just simply overlook. So what I want to do over the next couple of minutes is review an acronym called Krunk with you and review a worksheet that you can utilize with the intent of helping you look for opportunities to save money. Krunk is really another way to look at all your business and personal expenses on your bank statement. K is for keep. Take a look at all your monthly expenses and determine, do I keep this expense? What you want to do here is determine, is this an item that you either cannot cancel, or you may choose not to cancel right now. Either way, you want to revisit this one probably weekly, if not monthly, to determine, do you need to remove it at some point? R is for replace. This could mean replacing whatever that expense is for something lower. So for example, if your vehicle, if you were thinking about trading it in, right now might be a good time to replace that with something that's going to offer you a lower payment. Some other things you can look at are things such as Netflix, your cable services, really any service in general that you utilize. What can you do to replace it with a more cost-effective option? O is for offset. From a business perspective, a good example of that could be maybe sharing an office space with somebody else to offset the expense of office space. At home, this could mean, for example, maybe you have a vehicle that's not getting utilized as much, or you have a third vehicle that you can utilize, whatever the case may be. Maybe you put it on a service such as Toro, for example, where you can offset the expense of that vehicle by renting it out. Another example could be maybe if you have space in your home where you might have a room or a guest house or a wing of the house that you can rent out, again, to offset your payment. N is for negotiate. This is a pretty straightforward one. Any company that you work with, whether it's cable, utility companies, salon company, pool company, whatever the case may be, what can you negotiate on the price of the service? And a simple script that you can actually utilize for this is you can call them up, and let's just say it's a pool company. You can say something like, hey, pool company, it's your customer, and the reason I'm calling you is because we sat down as a family to review our budget and expenses for the back half of the year or the next year, and we need to make some cutbacks at this time. However, before we do that, again, we do appreciate your service and we're curious if there's anything that you can do to keep us on. Now, the goal here is to see if they can maybe come down a little bit on their service price. Any savings you can get here will ultimately be a savings in your pocket, in your checkbook. C is for cut. What can I cut right away out of my expenses, or at least set a predetermined date in the future that I'll cut that expense by? This could be something simple as eating out, Amazon shopping, Starbucks, and for you ladies, going to Target. Now that we've gone through Krunk, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can look at an Excel sheet that you can utilize very easily to help determine what expenses you should cut and maybe what you can't cut at this particular point in time. Either way, I'll go over the sheet with you, and after that, you guys are more than welcome to call me, text me, or email me, or you can even message me right here on Facebook or wherever you're watching this message, the video, and I'll go ahead and send that Excel sheet over to you. All right, so let's go to the screen now. We're gonna go ahead and get started with the Excel sheet. So we're on the first tab right now of the Excel sheet. I'm right here at the bottom left. And what you're gonna do here is you're gonna sit down with your family, at night or whenever you got some downtime, and take out your bank statements for the previous month and start to fill them out. So of course you're gonna put the month that we're in, and then go line by line on this bank statement and go ahead, list the date, what that expense was, the amount of that expense. This part right here where it says bank account used, that's helpful if you have multiple accounts, so you can figure out where the money's coming from ultimately, but not critical that you use this line. The next thing is the expense category. Now, this is really important. This is where you're going to go through here, and there's already a list of some predetermined expense lines that you can utilize. And if you got some unique ones, then you can just use other. Once you've determined the category, then we need to determine one of three things. Is it, and let me drop this down here, is it something that we can't cut? Is it something that's more of a lifestyle expense? Or is it something that we should cut? So for an example, we're looking at the mortgage payment here. That's a can't cut, right? We got to either pay our mortgage or we got to pay our rent so we have a roof over our head. Starbucks, the next line here. Well, that's a lifestyle choice. We don't have to go to Starbucks. So that's something that is a lifestyle or could easily be a should cut. For now, we'll leave it as lifestyle. And again, we're just going down the list. I mean, here's Outback, for example, $150 we spent out on Outback in this particular month. And that's an expense we probably should cut, right? Eating out less. Now, the next thing is once you've had this fully filled out, of course, we probably have more transactions on our statement, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to get through that. Then you're gonna tab over to the expense detail, and the beauty here is that it's got all the categories broken down for you, and you can see here your total amounts. Notice the grand total here; it's gonna match up to the same grand total that we see here on the right-hand side. Here's the beauty of this chart. We've determined can't cut, lifestyle, and should cut expenses. So we can actually now break them down and look at them by what they are. So here are some of our can't cut expenses, and here are some of our lifestyle expenses that we choose. Now, in this particular case, I put the car payment here. For me, for example, I love cars. So I'll just kind of let you in a little bit on me. I love cars. So for me, my car is a lifestyle choice. Now, if you think about us using the acronym Krunk, we talked about K standing for keep. I have to determine, do I keep the vehicle or do I let it go? So this is an expense that I review at a monthly basis to determine where my finances are and is this something that I need to move on from. Or I could replace it with something of lower payment. So that's why car payment is on lifestyle. Now, then we can also look at the should cut expenses. So in this particular case, we went out to Outback, we went to Wendy's, and we have our Amazon Prime on there. So that might be those are some expenses that we should cut. This is really, again, by doing this exercise, this is really where you're going to start to see those blind spots that we have. Because I'll be honest with you, once we're in the groove of things, we just start swiping our cards and we just forget about some of the services that we are enrolled to. I know for me, that's where I found some of the money that I was able to save, is that I had about $60 in services that I totally forgot that I was paying for. So right there, $60 I saved per month. And of course the eating out and some of the other things that we looked at as examples here. So what I want to remind you is that go back to the beginning of the video if you need to, go over what Krunk stands for again if you need to, utilize the sheet here to see where your expenses are going, where your money's going, and ultimately help you decide what lifestyle changes you need to make or what are some items that you should cut. I'd love to share this Excel sheet with you, so don't hesitate to call me, text me, email me, or message me right here on Facebook, and I'll go ahead and make sure that I'll get the sheet over to you so that you guys can utilize it and hopefully save some money the same way I did. Thank you for watching. Take care, and make sure you keep your family nice and safe at home. Bye-bye.